Saturday. Shout outs to my IG, Twitter, and YouTube community. Appreciate you. I want to say thank you for all your support, for all of your time, for all of your peace and your prayers. Thank you for the hard work that you put in on a regular basis. Thank you for all the memories, all the opportunities. We got some things to talk about. So, before we get into that, I want to give the people some time to pull up. There are some things that I want to discuss. I'm actually going to address a couple of things. Before we get into that, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, go follow me at Last of Writers Creed. The link is in the bio. I'm on Twitter as well, Deep Entropy. You can find me on OWT2 as well, under Crypt of Creed. Real soon we will be going from Instagram to my laptop. I will be streaming on multiple platforms. I've been having a real difficult time trying to get my audio and things of that nature correct. But here shortly we will be streaming live there. I want to get my message out to a broader audience. I want to be in a space where I can have this talk on a broader scale, because it's important to have these discussions and bring awareness to it. You sit, you watch, and you wish that you could say or do more. In reality, yes, you can do more. Wishing and actually doing something about it, if you have the opportunity to do it, it's very subjective. I have a lot of things that I've seen that troubles me. Videos that I can't get out of my head. Shout out to Lisa, Heavenly's High, cast of Heavenly's Abomination, Escape Window, Rick and Mortis. But we're here right now to talk about the things that are going on in the world, about the things that's happening in life right now, that's going on in our community. So, how should we begin? Sukiyana. Let me holler at you. I saw the video We're gonna get to you. I got something that I want to say specifically to you. So we're gonna have the conversation because what I've seen, it's not cutting it. Now the way that the words may be delivered may be unflattering to a lot of people. I don't care, but we got to talk.
What's going on, bro?
It's good.
Another day, another day.
Absolutely, absolutely. Trying to stay out this heat. What's good?
I'm good, brother. I'm ready to get this stuff cracking, man. You know, we got it's real cloudy.
No problem. No problem. No problem. Let's get into it.
All right, me a few real quick. I ain't gonna be long.
So, Miss Foxes, I'll debrief you real quick on the subject matter. There's a video that was shared to me where Charleston White, thank Charleston White, is discussing a matter in regards to the differences between a lady and a hood chick, a ratchet female, a woman who is operating from a lower vibration. In the video, he breaks down a couple of things, kind of bringing contrast between the two, between what's feminine and what's masculine. I'm going to try to be as specific as possible. When it was brought to my attention, I watched it. I understood what he was speaking on because in my community, I see it a lot where women tend to conduct themselves in ways that's unflattering, that don't necessarily represent what my grandparents or my ancestors, you know, represented. If you if you want to give more context to the story, I kind of went into it a little bit, but
Okay, go back to what you just
I
touched
was
on.
I'm basically speaking on the Charleston White conversation
Uh-huh.
and how he was comparing the differences between masculine and feminine women.
Correct. Okay, so he was using the situation as an example that happened in Chicago. We covered that story already with the son and the mother. with the shooting that happened in the store. Pretty much what he was articulating in that piece was, even though the situation ended the way it ended, it could have been avoided if you know women remained feminine. He he felt like the mother was being too masculine, talking and arguing with the guy in the store that led up to the fighting and then the shooting that followed after that. So basically, what we're discussing here today is, uh, why why is that? Why do certain women feel like they gotta have the last word? Why can't some men have the last word? Why can't what he say be king? Why does it always got to be some type of pushback? You know what I mean? Why always got to be some backlash? Because paid attention to the if you paid attention to that story, that video, the woman was clearly arguing with the man for longer than what she's supposed to. Oh yeah, please do chime in. Um, yeah, she was arguing with the guy longer than she's supposed to, and fellas, we already know ain't no real man should put his hands on a woman. Let's just put that on the table. That's because that's what happened in that video. But at the same time, ain't no real woman supposed to be going back and forth with a man. A real woman wouldn't have did that, fellas. So what we got to understand is we put more magnifying eyes on the fact that that man punched her in the face. We talk about the punch that he was punching that woman over the fact that what the woman was saying to him prior to the punches that she took. You see what I'm saying? So we look at one we look at one fault, but we're not looking at the other fault. So that's what we talking about today. A real woman would have walked out and would have let him have it. You know what I'm saying? Took her food and left. But instead, that particular situation escalated, and it's just like we can take that situation and bring it up in relationships. It'd be arguments in relationships, and certain females feel like they have to have the last word at all times. And then on the flip on the flip side, men real men already know that they're not going to win a verbal battle with a woman. So in the situation in that store, it led to physical. That's my point. It shouldn't have led to physical, but it started verbally. You're not going to win a verbal battle with a woman. Therefore, people need to use discipline. She shouldn't have kept back.
We had a slight disconnect there. He should be back momentarily. Continue. I'm good. I'm good. I can't hear you. Did you have a phone call? What happened? You might have to leave out and come back in. All right.
So what I was just touching on is that it's real masculine for a woman to argue argue a man down like that nonstop. And we can't and we got to put stuff in its right perspective. So What do you got on that? Like, do you agree or disagree? Like, do you think women really need to learn their role? You know what I'm saying? Learn their place in the relationships because it's a lot of men that deal with that type of situation. And me personally, you know, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not tolerating that. I'm not going to sit there and participate in the battle that I know I'm not going to win anyway. You see what I'm saying? And go back and forth with a female where it shouldn't even get to that point. In my opinion, it shouldn't even get to that point anyway. So it leads to things, and that's what I'm saying. Real women don't do that. Masculine women do, and that's my point. What you got on it?
So my take is a little more broader than yours. I look at this as a whole. I don't place this specific incident on just one particular race of women. I want to identify the problem, the root of it, because it's not just in the black community, it's in every single color that's possibly able to be identified here. We're talking about a specific set of circumstances and a certain set of women. We're not speaking about the majority, we're speaking about the specific ones who carry this ideal and this trait where it's okay to be combative, to be argumentative, to be rebellious, to be as pig-headed and aggressive as what a man is. Where does all this come from? When you talk about the woman in this particular situation, where does she develop all of these habits and traits from? Why is it so romanticized? Why do we not have these particular people put in the spotlight for their behavior? Because we can talk about how the man put his hands on her, and we can talk about how a man argues back with the woman. But let's talk about for a second why or how do we get to a particular place where the dynamics of man and woman kind of drifted off into a power play. Who's more successful? Who's more dominant? Who's more this and who's more that? How do we get to that particular place? There's a difference between having a argument and a discussion with someone versus you purposely trying to piss them off or trigger them to be aggressively violent towards you, egging them on, calling them out their names, being very disrespectful to them. There's a difference between sitting across from someone and
Hold on, I want to touch on that comment right there about man can cry, woman can be enraged. Emotion doesn't have a gender. That's true. That's true. Emotion doesn't have a gender, but what make it feminine is for your actions. Okay, if your act, you could be crying and whining and angry and all that. Men get like that too. But what The difference is the actions. Women get a pass for their actions. Men do not get a pass for how they feel. You see what I'm saying? You can feel whatever, but if you do it, your actions is judged as so. So that's what we talk about here. You can't act on your
I'll,
emotions.
I'll even go a step further. If a woman gets pissed off and she decides to spit in your face, or she decides to call you a nigger, or she decides to slap you or put hands on you, she's not going to get the same consequences as the guy's going to get. If he if a man gets out of his frame and he gets
He gon-
pissed off
he's gonna be
or he gets
he gonna be ridiculed more than a woman.
oh,
That's fact.
I'm not finished. Let me finish my thought. See, there's different levels, and I want to be very, very specific. Everyone is entitled to feel how they feel, but understand that there are double standards here. And if a man gets pissed off, or he allows his emotions to get the best of him, he's gonna go shoot up a school. He's gonna go kill somebody. He's gonna do bodily harm to someone, and he's gonna get slapped with life. He's gonna get thrown under the prison cell. There's gonna be ramifications for how he allowed his emotions and all of his everything get the best of him. If a
Fact.
woman is in the same position, they're gonna get slapped with it. They're gonna get slapped on the wrist. They might get probation. They might get like some house arrest type of sentence, something
Oh,
slight.
oh,
It's not gonna be. It's
what?
not gonna be extreme. I don't. We're not talking. I know I'm not talking about all women when I say this, but I've seen it a million times. A woman will burn your clothes, burn your house down, burn your car, and they won't get the same sentence as a man who does it. They get coddled, they get babied. Oh, it's okay. She had every right to be upset. He did this to her. He cheated on her. He did this. He did that. He said this to her. He said that to her. So they'll baby her. Reverse the roles. She's not going to get the same leniency at all.
So the
And
emotions is the same. The man and the woman emotions can feel the same, but it's the actions that's the difference. You cannot act on the same level as a woman. It's not. You can't do that. It's not going to be viewed the same. You know what I'm saying? If you act on it, that's what make a dude weak. If a dude do what a female do out of his feelings, he's a weak ass nigga. Period. He weak. He soft. He called a bitch, and he out of control. Female do it, it's understandable. She was feeling some type of way, and yada yada yada. It's a slap on the wrist, like my man said. It's gonna be swept under the rug because she was in her feelings. Man can't a man can be in his feelings. That's true. Men do get in their feelings, but they cannot act on their feelings. That's the difference. Women can act, men can't. That's the difference. If he make an act like a woman do, he's gonna be called a weak ass person, and that's the truth.
men should be able to cry. How do I feel about that? The way society is set up. Yeah, you welcome. Pull up. And the way society is set up, I I feel and I believe what I saw not too long ago. the way things are put together now is like we're systematically watching the structure and the core of what manhood is supposed to be torn down to the point to where we won't be able to protect the women that we are supposed to be loving and nourishing and taking care of and things of that nature. Every rule and every aspect of what is supposed to be sound in our household and in our relationships, all of it is getting swept under the rug, thrown under the bus, all because when you have a strong foundation within the marriage, within the friendships, when you remove all of that, when you put out this idea that it's okay for women to act like a man. I'm not talking, let me say this again. I'm not talking about all women. I'm talking about us, that specific select
Yeah,
few, like,
because
like,
we keep talking about the women that act like a man. Let's get into the other part of the woman that we not talking about.
Let's.
hold on. Let me welcome my guest up here. Miss Fox and Poems. Thank you so much for pulling up. I
Of
appreciate
course. Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm sorry to kind of crash the party, but I think this is an important, really important discussion that people, I think, are too often avoidant about because it can be polarizing. Um, it's easily personal because all of us either identify as female or masculine. And so when we're talking about ourselves or the other and our perceptions of such, oh, did we lose him?
it. Yeah, I think he
Okay.
cut off.
I hope he comes back. I think that it can become really quickly personal, and it's easy for it to become like a gut reaction type of thing. But I love this discussion. I think it's something we shouldn't be cautious to discuss because I think it's important and it helps us understand both the society around us and the rules that we've been indoctrinated into, but also it goes into so many different areas. It goes into family structure, it goes into religion, it goes into economy, it goes into culture, it goes into biology, it goes into lot of different places, right? So, but what made me have to pull up is when just a moment ago, and I hear you guys on a lot of this. He said that it's not fair that men can't display emotion, but women can't. Women get away with it. Women, and I agree with you. There should be equal criminal consequences for both men and women. I don't care what it is. It needs to be across the board. But I also think the same society that coddles women and tells them that it's okay to have emotions and be soft and be all of these things is the same society that gives them a pat on the back if they do something horrific. So that same system, it teaches them not to be powerful and not to be aggressive, but then when they do something, they get away with it more easily because we see women as more innocent and more emotional. And I don't think that's fair. So I wanted to touch on that. I agree with you both. Criminal consequences should be the same across the board. But when you say that a man is not free to show pain or sadness or love or joy, and a woman can, we get to be emotional, we get to be weepy, and nobody looks at us badly, and you say that isn't fair. By the same token, 5 minutes ago you said that a woman should know when she's supposed to stop, that a woman shouldn't be aggressive, that you don't tolerate that in relationships, that you believe that you should be the one wearing the pants and she should know when to back off and let you be in charge and let you be the aggressive one. You guys are told that you can't be emotional, but you yourself just said that we can't be an emotion, which is angry, which is loud, which is any type of negative women aren't allowed to be. But when men do it, y'all are considered powerful. Y'all are considered alpha. Y'all are considered handling your business, protecting your family, protecting your integrity, demanding respect. When a woman does it, society and you yourselves on this podcast just said a woman shouldn't do that. Well, why? That's the same as me telling you that you shouldn't be able to cry. I believe you should be able to cry. Why are you telling me that I can't be in somebody's face if they do something disgusting to me?
I'm gonna let you. You want to answer that? I'll let
Yeah.
you answer it first. Go ahead.
So for me personally, this all stems from the lack of biblical scripture. I go to the root of the
Right,
problem, where everything starts.
right,
When you don't have certain structure and certain um, boundaries set in place, and we talked about this before. When you don't have that system in your household where you'll say your grandparents taught you
right,
how to cook, taught you how to be a child, taught you how to go outside and play,
right,
and not be in front of your phone. When you have your grandfather who showed you how to be a little boy and how to love and be a part of your family and interact with your cousins and things of that nature and be respectful to elders. When you have that, you get a entirely different result from that child when they grow up because of the things that they had when they were being raised. Once
right.
once you remove that foundation, you remove that grandmother, you remove that father, you remove that mother that whooped your ass because you were being disrespectful to the teacher
Right.
when they were being. I'll even take it further. When they whooped your ass for being disrespectful to a stranger on the street or in the store,
In
and they
general,
disciplined you for it. Yeah. When you don't have that anymore, now you allow the enemy to invade your house.
right. A
So,
lack of respect,
social, right?
a lack of
Social.
consciousness of
So
other people, inconsiderateness, selfishness, disrespectful behavior, for sure. Those are
exactly.
important things that need to be taught. My grandmothers, though, were complete badasses. And I was raised in a very feminine way. And I engage and address myself and present myself to the world in a very feminine way. But I am also not afraid of anybody. And technically, somebody could look at me in an argument with a man and go, well, she's being really masculine right now. But I had those things in place. I went to church every Sunday. I had grandparents that taught me respect. I also just had women that told me that I could feel and be whoever I wanted and that I was strong. And I believe that both men and women have a right to be strong. It doesn't make me masculine to have an emotion that people think of as masculine. Society has placed that on us. Just like the color blue is automatically boys, the color pink is automatically girls. That's society's influence on us. I'm no less a sexy ass woman in a baby blue dress than I am in a pink ball gown.
That's what's
Right?
up. That's what's up. That's what's up.
I
He's
I
saying
I,
that, but
I,
a minute ago, you were saying a woman isn't supposed to. She's supposed to fall back. Like,
No,
you
no.
can't
I
have it
mean,
both ways.
yeah,
You know what I
but
mean?
see, what I mean was argumentative. See, it's okay to get your point across. I didn't mean it in a way
No,
as
I know.
you
I
don't
know.
you
It's fine.
can't have a voice. Like you just gotta
I know.
you can't express
I hear you.
yourself. Your feelings.
I,
What I
I hear you.
what I'm saying is we can have a
For sure.
discussion and you say your part, right?
Right.
I say my part, and then after I say my part,
Right.
that should be the end of it. It shouldn't
Right.
be no more continuously bickering. That's a masculine trait to me. You're being masculine at that point because I gave you the floor. I let you talk. I let you explain your feelings. You heard
Right.
what I
But you don't
had to
let me
say.
anything.
And
You don't, a man doesn't let me anything any
yeah,
more than I'm letting you. anything. And I believe if a woman said that to you, you'd resent that. You'd be going, you don't let me, you don't tell me.
Well,
The bottom line is both
what I
people
mean
should
is
walk
like
away.
respect,
Right.
like it's respect. Like at the beginning, like I want you to tell me how you feel, and you listen to how I feel, and that's like back and forth. That's like respect. You see what
Right.
I'm
But what if
saying?
she's not done? What if she's not done explaining her feelings?
I would love that.
Society has enabled women and created women to have a much more complex emotional makeup. So a lot of times, uh, I saw this thing once, and it was about how men psychologically, your minds are, and it compared it to food, like waffles. You have boxes, right? If you
Hmm.
picture a waffle, you guys have every issue, every fear, every goal, every feeling, and it's compartmentalized. So when we sit at a table to have a discussion, that is how you guys, in general, I mean, this is generalization, obviously it doesn't apply to everybody, but men tend to, okay, we're going to address this box in the waffle. Now we've both spoken, move on to the next. Women, though, our minds are like spaghetti. So you imagine a plate of spaghetti, right? You've got the noodles, you've got the shrimp, you've got the seasoning, everything's all mixed together. So for you, it's time to move on to the next box. And she's being disrespectful because she's not letting it go. The reality is, you've only pulled out one whole noodle out of that whole ass plate. Maybe she's not done addressing the complexity of her feelings. Maybe she's not done experiencing or expressing what she needs for you as her man and her rock to understand. And so it's a slippery slope. We can act like a woman is being disrespectful by not dropping it, but at the same time she may only be continuing because to her you're cutting her off. You're telling her to stop talking. It's over with. And then she resents you because she feels like you're being her dad.
See and I'm glad you brought that point. That's another big point about women. They can't look at their boyfriend as their dad. We're not trying to be your dad.
Right.
If we post it like okay, your dad. Let's go with your dad.
Right.
Your dad brought you into this world. Your dad raised you up to be the woman that you are.
Yes.
You love your dad. You trust
Yes.
you trust your
Oh yeah.
dad. So all we saying is trust us. Trust that he if
For
he
sure.
led you and raised you, you supposed to look at us as
For sure.
the one that's taking that duty over. You see what I'm saying?
For sure.
And if you don't confide in us like that, and if you don't look at us not like your dad,
Right.
but someone that's you're kind of like dad, like not totally your dad, but like dad,
Your
like
warrior.
with the quality,
Right.
yeah,
Your king,
that
your
you,
warrior, your
yeah,
protector, your right.
right,
Your
somebody that's
guidance. Right.
gonna take care of you, not hurt you. And if you don't have that type of trust in us, we bailing. We not your dad. You see what I'm saying? We're not trying to be your dad. We just trying to be your
Right.
partner. And it's vice versa.
Right.
Because we can say, well, dang, you saying all this, you acting like my mother. We can't, but we
Well,
don't.
my dad would let me finish talking though.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So I think in some ways we should be looking to you and deferring to you. Absolutely, the same way we would. We should absolutely have the same respect for our partner as we would our parents, for sure. But I also think it becomes confusing and can feel it can feel invalidating for women to feel that they're in a relationship where they have to ask permission or they are being ordered to go to their room, metaphorically speaking, the way that our fathers might. I think in order for that trust to be in place,
hmm,
I mean, I'm married. In my marriage, we are both alpha personalities, right? Obviously, that's taken, we've been married 10 years and we're still figuring that out because we both entered into it knowing that. And it's taken me time to learn when to be quiet and let him take the lead. But he's also had to learn when to be quiet and let me take the lead. And that's the thing. We can say a man should always do this and a woman should always do this. It's not that simple. It's nuanced. There's situations where I absolutely need to be in charge because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And vice versa. Like, there's so many times he's like, oh, don't even listen to her. She don't know what the hell she's talking about. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. I think anytime we discuss gender roles, anytime we discuss relationships,
But
like
to
you
be
said,
honest,
biblical sense,
yeah.
what was it? They say that the woman is the church and the man is the altar. Have you ever heard that saying, or is it vice versa? Which one is it?
Well, I heard a man should love his woman, his wife, like he loved the church. I heard that.
Okay.
You know, he should treat her. He should take care of her like he would take care of the church. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
I
So,
can't remember. Deep, do you know the quote I'm talking about? There's some saying. It's like I can't remember. It's like the man is the woman is the altar and the man is the church or something. But it kind of biblically defines the different roles that from a religious context is expected to they're expected to have. What I don't think people think about enough though is that those roles sometimes mesh in ways that we don't maybe always see or understand. But I just think for me personally, we just need to let, regardless of gender, people need to have permission to have whatever emotion they want to have. I think we as a society have gotten way too used to telling people what they are allowed to think and what they're allowed to feel.
you
I
know,
have, I have
I
right here.
agree with that.
I have. I want to chime in real quick. I have a verse from First Timothy 2:12, and it says, and I quote: "Do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet." That's from the word.
Right?
Now you can dissect it however you wish. You know, some people might look at that and scoff at it. Some people might consider what is being said. I
But I heard what she just said about the gender roles. She did speak about the gender roles, and what he just touched on up top is that a man should never. I mean, me personally, I can't follow no woman. It's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? She got to follow me. That's the only way. That's the only way it should work. That's the only way it was meant to work. But at the same
Why?
time, I heard. But listen, what I'm about to touch on what you said.
Sure.
But at the same time, if we're in a relationship like you just explained with your husband,
Mm-hmm.
you should know me good enough, and I should know you good enough where you could step in and take over, like
Yeah.
you said, when I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It should be a conversation between us two to get to
Right.
that understanding. You should be strong where I'm weak at, right?
Yeah,
And then I
for
should be
sure.
strong where you weak
Right.
at. But it should be an understanding. It should be a mutual understanding, not assuming. You can't assume nothing like that. That's where the disagreement gonna come in. You can't assume. If, if it's
I
an
have a question.
understanding, then it's cool. Yeah.
I have a question. Two questions when you're done, because I don't want to cut you off.
Go. Oh, you fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Two questions. Number one. Well, first is for Deep because he read that quote
Yeah.
first. In the time that you've known me, right? A couple years here on Instagram. In the time you've known me, have you ever learned anything from me?
Of course.
Even though the Bible told you not to? Second question.
I,
You said that you couldn't follow a woman. That's not something you could
I
do.
could
And that's where it all starts to fall
I
apart.
couldn't
Second question is
do that.
what
Yeah.
happens? What bad is going to happen if you let a woman take the lead? What do you think is
It's
going to happen?
something wrong. Something wrong will happen.
What? You have to be able to articulate. If we say, I can't do XYZ, if I say, I can't cross that bridge, I need to have a valid reason why I can't cross that bridge. I need to be able to say, it doesn't look stable. It looks like it's going to fall. I feel that there's dark entities on that bridge. Something. It leads to nowhere. So I don't feel comfortable. I can't cross that bridge.
Okay.
When you say I can't follow a woman,
mhm.
Why? What's going to happen if you allow
because
her
because
to have equal
because to me
leading?
a woman, when a woman lead, a woman mostly gonna lead out of her emotions. Men lead by logic, so it's not gonna work. It's gonna be something's gonna come up that she's gonna make a decision out of her feelings, and we're gonna lose. And I can't go off of that.
Have you ever made a decision out of logic and lost?
Not often. Mostly out of my feelings. When you make an emotional
Uh,
decision, you lose.
I don't know,
Emotions lose.
sir. I think we've all made emotions out of logic, and it turned out to be a very bad decision. I hear you, though. I mean,
Yeah,
I think that
you're gonna lose that way.
I think that's a valid concern that leading purely by emotion can be less successful than
Then
leading
logic,
by
right?
logic. But what makes you think that a woman can only lead by emotion?
Because they are the most emotional being between the two.
But
She's not going to operate like me. She's not. That's what make
right.
us two different. That's what if it was the same, then why is there such thing as a male and a female? It's not
But
it's
I'm an
not
emotional
the same.
being. I'm an emotional being, and yet I can lead by logic.
You know, I want to chime in real quick because
Yes, Steve, I'm
I
sorry.
didn't.
I didn't mean to.
I
Please
see
do.
it.
Please,
I,
please do.
so I wanna address a couple things. First, just to answer the question that you asked me.
Yes.
I'm not above or beneath anyone to learn from any gender. I'm
Right.
I'm humble enough to be told, you know, this is this or this is that. I have no problem with that. I think where the underlining problem lays is that we don't trust our partners. We don't trust them enough,
Agree.
or we don't feel secure enough to allow them to operate fully in certain situations that are detrimental to our well-being.
Agree.
If I if you fully trusted me to catch you if you fail, that would mean that we've had enough time, enough history, enough understanding, and enough mutual respect
Right.
to be in that position if it ever came
Right.
up. Just as if I came to you and I told you I lost my job or X, Y, and Z happened, and you didn't respond in a way that was
Right.
going to tear me down or make me feel less than a man because you understand, you empathize. A lot of women do not empathize with men struggling.
Agree.
That's what that's
You,
what I'm trying to
they
that's what
only
I'm trying to tell her the difference because the way you carry I can tell the way you carry yourself is what we was trying to talk about in the beginning of the stages when we was talking about the disrespect and the masculinity and all of that and the feminine. We was trying to say that if you're a certain woman that carry yourself the right way, like when we talked about that example, a man would never even argue with you because he already know he gonna give you your respect right off the break. You wouldn't even have to worry
Well,
about them troubles. But we can't give we gotta be in particular who we give the respect to.
right.
That's all.
No,
We're not gonna
that makes
respect
sense.
all women.
That
All
makes sense.
women do not deserve our respect.
think of it this way. You go into Walmart. You go to
No,
the
I don't want to go to
you go
Walmart.
on you going you
Don't
you
take me
going
to
into one of
Wally World. No, go on.
you going you going into one of your favorite stores. You're in line. You're getting ready to pay for your stuff.
Right.
Uh, Sexy Red is right behind you. Pound Town, Pound Town. She's behind you. She's on her she's on her phone arguing with her such and such, but you with your husband.
Right.
Who is likely in that scenario going to get the response from the man in a negative way? Your husband
The
or the person that she's arguing with.
right, for sure, for sure.
So
That makes complete sense.
so there's a difference. There's a lot of you that still exist out here
Right,
that we respect, but
right.
then you have the ones that promote and advertise this hateful spirit of we don't need men, fuck men, we
Oh
ain't
no.
listening to
Oh
them
no,
men.
no, no, no. We
Th-
need you. We need you.
those
Oh, can you say it for the people in the
We
back? Could you say that one more
need
time?
you.
All right.
Listen,
All right.
it's not fair for either side to do that whole we don't like. I think that we fail when we decide that the other side of anything, the other side of the bridge, the other side of the issue, the other side of the debate, we lose when we lose the ability to listen, right?
And that's on both.
A lot of people would not be able to sit and have a respectful conversation like this because they get too it's just like with politics right now. Both sides are so indoctrinated into the other side is evil. They won't hear anything. Nothing gets done. Our government's fucking falling apart and has been because nobody can sit and just talk and then let somebody talk and then talk and let somebody talk and try to come to some type of we may not feel the same, but I can respect you because you took the time to explain why you feel the way you do. You took the time to tell me about your experiences in relationships. You took the time to XYZ, right? If we just decide, nah, fuck men, or we decide all women are just gold diggers, or all women are just emotional, they can't make smart decisions, when we place absolutes on things that are incredibly complex and have so many different gray areas, we never learn. We never become better human beings because we just decided that we know and there isn't any other way, or any other way is wrong or bad or scary or this or that. All the labels we place on things, it's bullshit. All we need to do is listen. And I always tell my daughter, who's 8, we're judged by the content of our hearts. So whatever you do in this world is what you do. What matters to me is if you're the type of girl or the type of woman that will stop to comfort or heal a wounded bird. I don't care if you go to college. I don't care if you work at a gas station. I don't care if you're a stripper. I would like for you to not be a stripper, probably, but if that's what happens, that's what happens. If you're the type of person that comforts a wounded bird, your success as a human being, and I will be proud of you. So we get way too caught up in just deciding that the other side has nothing valuable to say. How could I possibly understand men if I don't listen to them? When we shut out others' points of view, we're getting nothing but repetitive, bias confirming information in a society that's what they want because we're easier to control that way.
Salute. Salute.
exactly. And that's one of my biggest issues and concerns because the things that they're trying to make normal,
Oh, I know.
you know, with the Kiki Palmer situation, with Sierra, with Sexy Red, with just the music industry and the things that they promote and advertise, concerts and their
It's
videos,
crazy.
pushing this, pushing these ideas that you should swing on a dude, that you should argue back with him, that you should get in all of these excessive debates over the stupidest and silliest things. The
Right.
way it's the way that these things are designed and set up, if you listen to the lyrics, if you listen and watch the models, you'll start to
Oh, it
put
scares me.
these things yeah, it's like the lyrics are basically telling you how to hate a person, how to lie to a person,
And greed.
how to manipulate a person.
And greed.
Exactly.
Lots of greed. Lots of worship of money. Worship of materials. Worship of sexuality not as a even pleasurable or spiritual experience as like a power, to purely for power, and that's not what it's about. It scares me that that's what's being listened to. We don't realize how much that's going into our children's heads.
I just watched a video on Twitter where Sexy Red is doing a concert, and in the video, she's performing, and she has two black men on their hands and knees, crawling like dogs, like slaves, with neck chokers, and she's holding them by the
I don't think anybody needs to be in that
right.
position. Why is anybody like that?
That's degrading.
Yeah.
That's real degrading.
I wouldn't agree with it if it was women, and I don't agree with it as men. Why is that a visual that you want to present?
Exactly.
Nobody needs
but
to
those
be enslaved. Period. Wait a minute, who is Sexy Red, by the way? Is she a rapper?
You remember I send you the video?
You sent me Kiki Palmer. We talked about Kiki. Kiki was out there grinding it like it was the end of the earth. And
Ursha, baby. Ursha.
Kiki was out there
giving it to Usher. She was giving it to him, wasn't
she? Was digging for the center of the earth, let's face it, and then had the audacity to act like this man was out of pocket with her. And I'm sorry, she baited him. Point blank, period. No excuse for that. Like you do not, that man probably couldn't feel his legs for a week, and then you're like, you touched my butt. Girl, everybody in that room touched your butt. Everybody in this universe has touched your butt because you're pushing it into the camera. I mean, we're looking literally at your innards at this point. What are you doing being upset that this man touched the back of your leg? But anyway, so who's Red? What, Sexy Red?
Yes, the Pound Town. I just went to Pound Town. Something. It's a god awful song.
Oh, it's
apparently
okay. So she's a music artist.
Yeah, she's a rapper.
Is it the one that looks like Little Orphan Annie or not?
Dang.
Nah, she looks like.
You know what I'm talking about? Ice Spice. She looks like Little Orphan Annie.
Nah. She's built like Glorilla. She's built more like Glorilla.
Supposed to recognize her from how she's built.
And the sad part, both of those artists look the same. They taking the same role. They taking the same approach.
Right.
Hell, they the reason why we doing this video. They masculine as hell, and it's not gonna work. It's not. You gonna have to come back with that, baby.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Not today.
Not today. It's not gonna work.
I'll have to look her up because I honestly don't know who we're like. I consider myself pretty aware of the music scene. I've never heard of this girl, so
trust me. Once you see the video, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Well, I feel like Nicki Minaj opened up the doors for a lot of this, which makes me sad because she is genuinely a brilliant wordsmith.
Yeah.
Well, to be
sick with the word, like that with the word.
If you
does not need to do the things she does. She has the gift to gab, and it's like totally lost.
Lil' Kim was the one that really started it, though. She the
That's
goat.
what I was about to say.
Lil' Kim
that's exactly what I was about to say.
Then
you said, but
Nicki Minaj
but you calling her the goat. She the goat of what? Promoting sucking dick. The goat at fucking many people.
She's the goat. She's the goat of female rap. Like if it's a female artist, she's the goat. She had the most sales.
All right, I get that, but you're not hearing what I'm saying.
I do.
What is she promoting? What is she advertising?
She promoted sexuality. She promoted.
Okay, that's my. What she's advertising. Her message.
I still got to give her the credit because she was the first one that went raw like that.
She pioneered women.
Strong.
Whether or not she had a message was of a higher frequency or not, she still broke an industry open for fellow Black women to be in. Now, whether or not she set a good example in terms of her content, in terms of her topics, in terms of her aesthetics, that's neither here nor there. I agree with you. I think that when the sexuality isn't just a woman being powerful and not being afraid to show her sensuality, but it just becomes a vulgar display. I agree with you. To
It
me,
used to
that takes away from the art.
it
To
used
me,
to be
that
it used to be shameful until Lil Kim did it. Lil Kim made it popular.
So I have a question since
yeah.
we're here. What is the difference between their influence and a average person who does ballet's influence?
Who's they? A female rapper?
We're we're speaking about sex, promoting
Okay, so
sexual.
somebody in the entertainment industry that's female that's has a highly sexual image versus a ballerina.
Right.
De Niro, that's the difference. Money talks too. Sex sells, money talks. I'm a, come on.
No,
They
I'm laughing because you make a valid
they
point.
broke
It's just the way you
they
said it,
broke
De
down.
Niro. In my head, for the briefest second, I thought we were talking about Robert De Niro, and I was like, El Cocaine?
Jeez, come on.
Like, I literally took my brain a half a second to realize you meant money, like De Niro. But I was like, Robert De Niro is the difference. What? But no, I think the difference is, well, that's a great question. Depends on who you ask. Depends on who's consuming it. Depends on what they're getting out of it. So like I can write a sensual poem and somebody might say, "Well, what is she giving to the world versus somebody like Shakespeare who's, putting out a sonnet that is really long and really technically advanced, but nobody even knows what the hell he's saying." They're
Right.
two different things. I think it's like comparing apples to oranges. I think that a artist, particularly a woman, can be a sexual being. I don't think there's anything inherently negative about our human sensuality. I feel like all humans have that, men and women. Look at Prince. Prince didn't even mean to exude the sexiness that he did most of the time, and it just jumped out from him. I think that if you're doing it specifically to capitalize on your sexuality and specifically to rope people in and to convince people that that type of behavior, really raunchy, really vulgar sexuality, is perfectly okay, I disagree with that. But I believe if you're an artist in any way, a poet, a writer, a director, a musician, hell, an architect, and you have sensual or sexual elements, I don't think there's anything wrong with that expression. We wouldn't have things like the Statue of David. We wouldn't have beautiful things like the hieroglyphics that have, naked Egyptians in them if human beings never acknowledged their sexuality. There aren't, I mean, let's face it, like, we're here to procreate, right? That's like our instinctual purpose. If we pretend that that isn't there because we're clutching our pearls and saying that to live a godly life or to live a perfect societal life, we should only exude that in very, very specific scenarios, I think we're doing ourselves a disservice. I think it's better to normalize in the sense that being sexual is a beautiful thing, but it doesn't need to be vulgarly dangled in people's faces as a means of obtaining wealth. That's when it takes the art out and it becomes a money grab. So I agree with him. The De Niro is the difference.
It's all about that dollar.
Yeah. That's not being sexual because that's what you're displaying an authentic part of yourself. That's purposely using sex to sell. And that's when it makes sex gross and ugly and weird and I don't like it. No thank you. No thank you. No Robert De Niro for me.
You know,
What do you think?
there was a specific time in my life where I would listen to Biggie and I would
Yeah.
listen to Lil Kim, and I I was celebrated. I was right there smoking. I was right there having sex with somebody to a certain songs of Drew Hill, something like that.
Bong,
And
dong,
then
dong, dong.
the the older, the, oh yeah,
That's a classic. That's
the
a
old,
classic right
I
there.
know. That was like the jam when I was like a junior in high school. That song, it was like "Loving with You," da 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 da. Everybody was doing that, and everybody was grinding at the dances and stuff. I look back on that now, and I'm like, oh god, do kids still do that? Because that was nasty. Why were we doing that?
But that was a
Why were
different.
adults
That
allowing
was
that?
our. That was a
It
different
was.
time, and I think
That was the '90s.
music was different
'90s.
than it is
Yeah,
now. So when
for
Lil
sure.
Kim when Lil Kim did that, she was with Biggie. She was with pretty much the biggest rapper her next to Tupac in the industry at that time. It was hot. It
well,
was selling. It was like hotcakes. And when she
what
did
I'm
what
what I'm what
she
I'm
did, that was different.
what I'm getting at is the older the older you get and the different experiences you take on,
Yeah,
with meeting people, losing people, things of that nature. You tend to realize soon later that a lot of what you saw is not really what was best for you. Now
oh yeah,
we can sit here, and glamorize and give them their flowers and all of these things, but at the end of the day, if you really peel back the layers, a lot of
yeah,
their content influence, a lot of their content influenced what we got right now,
for sure.
whether it was directly or
Yeah,
indirectly. People
Well,
are
we can't blame individuals. We got to blame the whole culture,
the whole system.
the whole industry from the '70s all the way to 2023 is responsible. That was I was just pointing out that at that point.
Uh
Like
oh,
it's at another point right now. Um,
I agree.
crazy.
Okay, you back. You froze up there for a minute, but you're back for me.
I'm back.
Is he back for you?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it was just a
no, I,
different time though. That's all. I mean, hip hop itself is a culture. It's
Yeah.
not a one person thing, and the whole influence is the clothes, the talk, the lingo,
The culture. The
the culture. You got to be about that. It's the street culture, and it all started back from where it originated from, and it just went from generation through generation.
right. Well, I mean, we wouldn't even have rock and roll if we didn't have
Right.
the communities. If we didn't have Harlem. If we didn't have. I mean, really, music in this country, as far back as when we've settled here, has been influenced by Black culture. If we're being real with ourselves. I think society in general has had different periods of exploration and acceptance of overt sexuality. Certainly, you look at the 1960s, we had music that was exploding. I think the difference is, though, there are certain pockets that have become more overtly less alluding and less sensual and more like I said, more vulgar, more like literally grinding your pussy on the camera. Like I think that's where we go from a trailblazing song where a woman is not afraid to discuss, the desire she feels or be beautiful, in front of the camera, not wearing a lot simply because she loves herself and is, there's a point to it versus just straight up sex, 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 neon.
That
Just
that's a
that
great
means an
point.
empty. That's empty sexuality is. I resent that because to me there is a lot of power and a lot of beauty. I feel like a lot of the best art, literally in every genre that exists in humanity, has been influenced by love and sexuality. We wouldn't have any of the masterpieces we have without those. So when you take that same thing and you just turn it into a used dirty condom in an alleyway, it's not that it's kind of taking something sacred and flushing it down the
You
toilet
ain't
in a way.
say use, did you?
Yeah, when you take something beautiful and you turn it into a used
God.
condom in an alleyway, um, in the Bronx, then it's a problem. That's a masterpiece. Why are you
So
doing that?
so
Like,
we
why is
got
that what you're focused on? And
so
the answer is money.
So we got a whole lot of used Lil Kims in the industry today because Lil Kim started it. It was cool. It was
Listen,
raw when you did it, but now we used it all up. We don't want to see it no more. Bring me something more original. I want the original. The original is what sells,
yes,
not the
it's
copy.
hard to find. It's hard to find original, especially music, right now. I think the music industry in general, there's a
Oh,
oversaturation of mimicry. There's a
a
lot
lot
of
of copycats.
making.
That's all it
Yep.
is.
I will give Lil Kim a pass though, just for this. Was she overtly and vulgarly sexual? Yes, but she was also like like Nicki, a brilliant wordsmith, and she was trailblazing in the sense that at that time it wasn't okay for a black woman to say, yeah, I'm dirty, yeah, I'm sexual, yeah, I'm all these things, and I'm not sorry. And I think that's where I can kind of separate the overt sexuality that she exuded with how trailblazing it was, because it required bravery for her to do that on some level. Now, do I think that it's music that should forever be embedded in society and we should, look for these deep messages in it? No, I think it was a black woman saying, fuck y'all, this is me. And men can do it and so am I. That's how I view
Fact,
her.
fact. Salute.
There was a video of what's her name?
Lil Red, Lil Sexy,
I was
Juicy, Crimson, Scarlet Red. Who do we talk about?
something Kokiani or some shit like that.
Cocaína?
It was something. I can't think of her name, but she went to Buckingham Palace. She's a rapper,
Oh, okay.
and they were recording her, and she said, and I quote, she wants to get her coochie ate, and she wants to get. It was very vulgar and
My neck,
very loud.
my back,
Yeah,
my pussy, yeah,
it
my
was
crack. It was
it
that
was
type of
basically
thing?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was that. But I bring this up because you're at Buckingham Palace.
Well,
You're
first of
a
all, fuck the
national.
royal family. But
I could care less.
I know,
But
I know it's a place
my,
that's wildly inappropriate, and you're intentionally
it,
pushing boundaries for shock
it,
value. I don't like
yeah,
shock value. If you're doing something to shock people, you lose all credibility with me. You can be
because I mean,
shocking without doing something shocking on purpose. Look at Kendrick Lamar. He frequently steals my breath away, but not because he's trying to, because he's just that fucking smart. And he's doing shit that nobody else is doing. He's not going out and lighting the American flag on fire at the top of the Golden Gate Bridge. He doesn't have to do shit like that to get people to stop and really wide-eyed pay attention to what he's saying. When you go to Buckingham Palace and you're swinging your hoo-hang around, it's a little bit different, right?
yeah.
Gotta be original. You gotta be original, people. That's
But
what's
see,
gonna get you
here's
noticed
my
the
Yeah.
most.
So what's your feelings
here's my
on Buckingham pussy?
but yeah.
Mm.
My my problem was she's on camera in front of
Right.
millions of people that's watching worldwide talking about she wants to get her ass ate, her pussy ate. She wants some dick. And then
Right.
you go to Twitter, you go to Instagram, you go to YouTube comment sections, and
Right.
you got black women in the comment section say, "You go, girl, you get your ass ate, you do this." That's my problem because you're representing an entire community. You got people looking at everyone like they're that way. You're you're basically saying this is okay. Be like
Right.
that. This is what men
And
want.
no,
This is how women's
that's what
supposed
get
to
them
act.
disrespected. That's gonna get them disrespected.
Yeah. She's not doing that because that's genuinely how she feels. I wouldn't have a problem with I would have a problem with how inappropriate it is, but I wouldn't judge a woman for it if it was genuine, but it's not. She's doing it to to get attention.
That
She's
we
doing
can't
the sweet
respect
talking.
that. Yeah.
Don't respect that. Exactly. I think, and again, as a member of the Caucasian delegation, it's not for me to place any type of judgment on Black women supporting that. But I would venture to guess that to them, it's just important to, even if it's misguided, to uplift another Black woman, regardless. I think they see it as their fellow queens aren't protected, even if they're doing something that maybe isn't the best decision. I feel like they're going to circle around and support that. And I can't necessarily be mad at that. I think it's misguided, but I think that it has good intentions in terms of trying to protect their own.
All right, I got a
I think
question on that. I got a question real quick, and I'm gonna let you go, bro. I'm gonna say it real quick, then you take over. Do you feel like men can or should be able to protect something that they can't control?
Give me an example.
Okay, we like a relationship. If if that goes back to what I said with the lead
Right.
and sometimes in the follow, like in a position where if the man is in the lead position and he's telling you something that is in the best interest for the both of you, but you overstep him and then trouble arrives. You see what I'm saying? That puts
Right.
that puts him in the position where he has to be the man and protect anyway. But if you would have listened, you see what I'm saying? It wouldn't have never
Okay,
happened.
so when it comes to situations where it's like imminent type danger or something that is could be explosive or could be dangerous or whatever, as alpha as I am as a woman, I always defer in that situation, always. Even if I don't necessarily in that moment agree, because I feel that if it's coming down to where he may have to physically protect me, I feel he's more able to recognize signs of that than me because I didn't grow up fighting. So I don't know when somebody's about to pop off and hit me necessarily. Sometimes I can sense it, but I feel like men probably have a better idea about imminent danger or like if there's a wild animal near us and he's like, step back slowly. I'm not going to be like, well, I don't think so. I think that bear might just want to be coming over and having a picnic. Like, I'm not going to sit there.
I just, I just want to see if he's gonna eat us alive. Let me find out.
Like, no, in
Like
that
man,
situation, if he feels that we are in actual danger, that is a situation where I mean, there may be a rare one off, but I feel he is physically stronger than me. No matter how strong I feel as a woman, he is physically stronger than me. He is physically more capable of defending. Like I couldn't hit somebody in the face if I wanted to. I could try, it would be pathetic, but so in that situation, yes, he has a right to tell me back up. Now later on I may say, if it turned out to not be anything and he miscalculated it, I'm going to say, maybe you should have talked to me about it. And then we can discuss why it was in that moment he felt that there was imminent danger. But I don't believe that there are situations where you should sit there and nitpick and argue and nag and disagree if it's something that may cause actual harm. Other situations, when he's just randomly making a decision without consulting me, I'm going to kind of pull him a little bit to the side and be like, wait a minute, we haven't talked about this. I mean, I am going to question. I'm going to be like, wait, we both have opinions in this situation. If we go into a restaurant and he just randomly orders me a meal, he may think that that's chivalrous or whatever, but maybe I don't want stuffed buffalo butt. You know what I mean? Like maybe I don't maybe I don't want that. So it's like you needed to confer with me and I can make my own I can place my own order. You know what I mean?
but hold on, but isn't it a man's job? Like if he's
Place my
taking
order?
you on a date,
Hell no.
no, isn't it a man's job? Isn't it a man's job, not a woman, to pick the date? Yes or no?
To
I want
pick
to
the
confirm
what?
that. To pick the date, like if it's somewhere you're getting taken out, I'm picking the date. You're not picking it.
It depends. If that's pre-established and understood that he's specifically taking me out on the town, he absolutely gets to pick.
You get to
And I'm
pick the
going where he
date.
wants to go. But if it's, hey, let's go out on a date night tonight, what do we both want to do? Then we both should have input. There may be a time I want to take him out and do nice surprises for him. There's times I've taken him out and surprised him at a cool restaurant that he didn't know about. Or I think that I don't think it's the man's job per se. I think that you have to look at every situation individually. And if a man wants to take me out, not just we're going on a date and we're both agreeing on it. If it's a I'm taking you out on the town, I'm not going to sit there and be like, so where are you taking me? And I don't like this place. And blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, no,
Mhm.
he's allowed in that situation to be the navigator and be the captain. But there may be we go on a vacation that I've planned and I have a certain set of things that we're doing because I think that he'll like them. So it's not a black or white. Every single time we go out, he gets to pick because he's quote unquote taking me out. I make money too. It's our money in a joint. I mean, granted, he makes more than me, which by the way, don't go to college because I did and he didn't. And he makes twice what I make because he went into a trade. So anybody out there listening, kids, don't go to college. It's a joke. And then you just have debt. But anyways, I mean, he makes more than me, so on some level I do feel that he has more weight in decisions financially just because he contributes more. But I still contribute. I still work my ass off. So if it's something we're deciding on together, we should both have a voice. If he's like, "Hey, Friday, put on a nice dress, I'm taking you out," I'm not, that's not a situation where I'm gonna bug him and be no. Let somebody do something nice for you. Just like if somebody gives you a gift, you don't get to go, well, I wanted something else. That's fucking rude. Say thank you for your gift.
Right.
This is so lovely. Thank you. And it may not be what you wanted, but it's the thought.
Go ahead,
So
brother.
yeah, I mean, I think that's just common sense. But what was I feel
Go
like
ahead,
we get off
brother.
on these little
Yeah,
tangents. Deep, what
yeah.
were you gonna
Bro,
say?
you got it up top.
Shit, I lost my whole train of thought. we went we went from
Fighting bears,
aggressive
Yeah,
bears.
been
pussy at
fighting
Buckingham
lions, tigers,
Palace.
and bears. We fighting all these animals. Man,
I ain't making it out of a bear situation without him. Period. Okay? Let's just face it. I probably might go, okay, but please don't hurt the bear because I'm that girl that's like always worried about animals and want to make sure they're okay. He'd be like, get back. And I'd be like, okay, but please don't hurt the bear if you can. Thanks. And then I get back.
I do truly believe that women aren't what they once were. And if
In what
there
sense?
are, I mean, you know, not argumentative, not combative. And when I say argumentative and combative, I'm not talking about you should shut up like I'm Ike Turner or some shit like that.
Right.
I'm talking about I chose to go into a partnership with you because of certain traits, certain things that brought me to you. I care for you. I took on that responsibility knowing that there were things that I was going to have to do to meet you halfway
Right.
or go above and beyond. So in that respect, if I decide to do that for you, you should allow me to be in a position to where I can do that.
Right.
And we don't have that anymore. I grew up where my grandfather went out and worked, my grandmother went out and worked, but at the end of the day, he relegated the circumstances going on in the household if things were getting out of line and there needed to be order, or
Right.
he had to make certain decisions, or they had to make certain decisions, they would do it in a way to where it wouldn't be you bitch ass something, you faggy, you gay because and all of the ad hominems that come along with it. You trying to agitate the person that you lay down with.
Right.
You're trying to fight and purposely piss off the person that you say you love. You're
Antagonize.
purposely right. Like I don't really see a lot of that anymore, where they're empathetic about your feelings. They care whether or not you had something to eat, or they care about your day. or they care if you're stressed, or if you know your family is doing okay. No one's really engaging men anymore. Women are not really too inclusive with what a guy goes through on a regular basis. It's more about how
Right.
can I get how can I get the resources from him? What
Right.
does he have that I can get out of him in order for my attention and time to be given to him?
I hate
Been
And
that.
if you can't benefit me in any type of way, form, or
Then
fashion,
buy.
then you're yeah.
you disposable. You trash.
Yeah.
You garbage.
It's not right
You
on
know.
either side, really, to look at somebody as just a resource. I think it can go both ways. I agree with you, though. I think that women, I can't say all women, it's hard because you don't want to just, it's hard
It's
to
not. It's
say.
not all women. It's not.
I
We're
feel like
saying that.
some
So,
women have lost connection with nurturing.
mhm.
I think that we are forgetting how to be nurturing forces. We are forgetting how to be facilitators. And we are forgetting that in order for our man to go up, our king to go up, and to be successful, the reality is he should be able to lay his head on our shoulder when he comes home from a hard day, and he needs to cry. Instead of making him feel like shit about that, hold him and tell him he's amazing and all of those things, so that when he goes back to his difficult day, he can face that. Like, we're not rejuvenating our partners. We're not uplifting our partners. We're being more problem solving. Like, well, did you try XYZ? And that's great, but there needs to be, like you said, an empathetic element. There needs to be I completely understand how hard
It
that
need
would
to
be.
be a safe
Yes.
haven, some place where we can go and
Yeah.
lay our burdens down. If
Yep.
you can't do that, why we with
Yeah.
you? Why we with you then? If we can't be
And I will
peaceful.
say, on the opposite side of that coin, though, is that men have really not historically ever been very good at nurturing. And we deserve that too. You guys are very good protectors. But sometimes, because society have made you guys uncomfortable with emotion, when we are deep in our feelings, sometimes you guys shut down.
Okay, let me say one thing about the
Sure.
emotion part, because I wanted to touch on that.
Sure.
Okay. You just articulated, and I do believe what you said about the emotion. Men should be able to cry and all of that.
Beyond.
I get that.
I don't know why we judge that at all.
But
It's human.
but the,
Yeah.
but it's like, okay, if you in a relationship with somebody, or even I'm gonna say even a merge, I'm gonna go as far as say even a merge,
Wait a minute.
and they
Wait.
make
Wait.
they make it comfortable for you to say, you can tell me what's wrong. Go ahead and let it out, baby. Go
Did
ahead.
you just say merge?
Even in
Merge?
a merge, or yeah, even in a merge, even in a
Where
situation
are
like that,
you? What
the
state are you in?
you say what state? I'm in North Carolina.
You're North. Okay, I knew. I knew it. Merge. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue. I promise. That was cute as hell that you just said that. Merge. I was like, he's got to be in the Carolinas. Okay,
I'm I'm
continue.
I'm I'm originally from DC though, so I don't,
Oh,
that
really?
came out, but I don't talk like that.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
I was gonna say, even when the women let you know and feel
Right.
comfortable to be vulnerable, they want their man to be vulnerable. They take that and use it against them in the end. Like, if we piss y'all off or something, you take that moment and bust our ass with it. So
Yeah, no, that's trash.
that's why
That's
dudes
trash.
don't do that. That's why dudes look at that as being weak,
I know.
because if we give you that, you take that and use it and destroy us. That's why we don't give y'all that. That's why.
I do see that. I do see women that do that. I agree with that. And I think it's trash.
Women is vindictive like that, and they'll try to destroy the dude once he open up
Yeah.
like that to it.
I
one,
There's a lot of
one thing
psychological warfare from women.
Yeah, they do
Our
stuff like that.
battlefield is a psychological one. Because we are not as physically capable, we definitely engage in a lot of psychological warfare tactics, and I do not agree with it. Period. Nobody should be using any type of vulnerability against anybody. Period. And if you're the type of person that does that, whether you're a man or a woman, you're trash.
You trash.
People
You lame.
should be safe to share their vulnerabilities, and if you're going to then take that and use that against them, like, to me, that's in the same book with a liar and a thief. It's using ammunition, using people's weaknesses against them, and to me, that's a sign of very low humanity, very low frequency type behavior.
So you got to understand, a man
Yeah,
do
I
go
do.
through emotion, and we don't have a problem letting our woman know. I'm not gonna say an
Right.
average girl, we're not gonna let them know, but we don't mind opening up to our lady. But you got to understand, it's a risk from our
Yeah.
gender perspective that when we do that,
Fan.
we putting some type of trust in that person. We not
Right.
if
And
we
you've been
not gonna
burned.
just do that for anybody.
And you've been
Yeah,
burned. You've had
right.
somebody use that. Yeah. I feel that we have the same thing, just women in the physical realm. You guys feel that you're taking on a lot of emotional and psychological risks, and we sometimes feel a lot of physical threatening. You know what I mean? Like, we enter relationships feeling like there's always going to be a chance that we're going to be physically mistreated, because
Yeah.
historically there's been a lot of that. So I think both sides of the fence have developed coping mechanisms, right?
Mm-hmm.
The experiences and the beliefs that we've had, either in our own relationships or in what society is pumping into our heads, affects the way that we move. It affects what we look for in a partner. And I think we miss out on a lot of probably beautiful people because we've developed all of these walls and strategies and beliefs and reactions. I feel like there's a lot of people that probably could have had a beautiful and successful relationship, but their pasts fucked them up. And then they couldn't move together in the way that they needed to do, because we go along and we get damaged.
Say that part again.
A lot of people enter into relationships and I feel they could have had a beautiful and fruitful relationship, but because of their past, because of their experiences, and because of societal influence, they can't move as two working parts together, and then it falls apart. I feel like we miss out on a lot of valuable relationships, not just romantically, but platonically, professionally, because over time we've become damaged and we operate on assumptions.
All you got to do is cut the head off the snake. It's over with. You just cut the head off
What
the
does
snake.
that
It
mean?
ain't going
What
nowhere.
does that mean?
It's a wrap.
Like,
That's some country shit right there. That's
It means, let me tell you what it means. It means keep your grass cut. Keep your grass cut. Wherever you at. Check that yard.
listen, Deep, I love this guy, whoever he is.
that's my man.
You're adorable. Seriously, that's so funny. I love that. I'm gonna start using that thing. Just cut the head right off the snake. People are gonna be like, "What?" I'm gonna be like, "Just go with it." I heard it one time. Just go with it. Cut your grass. You'd be like, "What about my grass?" I'll be like, "You don't understand. You're not on my level. Bye."
Yeah, keep it low. Keep it low.
So funny. Oh, that's so funny. I love it. You can start jotting these little ones down. But listen, I have to hop off of here, but I wanted to say that I've really enjoyed this discussion, and I appreciate the respectful, funny, charming, you guys' experiences are important, and your feelings and your perspectives, even where they may not align with my own, they still matter. They're still just as important as mine. And I don't think you all hear enough from women that we love and appreciate you, that you're doing a good job, that you're strong, and that you're capable. So I'm going to speak up for all women today and tell you both that you are kings, and have a great rest of your day.
And we appreciate you being on here. You enjoy your day, but thanks for sharing.
Yes, you too. I love you.
It was wonderful.
Okay, bye.
We had one, right?
Man, that's a banger. That was a banger right there.
That was just the first one. We still got one for later on.
Oh yeah, we're gonna run it back, ain't we?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, man, we not. Let me now that we got that out the way, I just want to put this out here. This wasn't necessary topic to just disrespect or undermine one gender over the other. You know, we're just pointing out a specific thing that we see, a characteristic, I'm gonna say, that we see in the females that create problems. All women ain't like that. On the opposite is that when the women carry herself correctly and right, these them situations that happened in that restaurant would have never took place because a man would have never stepped to a real woman with respect and all of that like that for herself. It would have never been no argument. So I just wanted to put that on the table that certain women, by the way they carry themselves, get the utmost respect by men, and then the ones that think low, that's the ones that get disrespected. So it was just a breakdown between, you know, characteristics that you see in people. You got anything on?
Nah, man. All I say is that shit goes way deeper than just one, incident,
Yeah.
What she displayed is what hundreds, if not thousands, of women across the world, articulate, as you see on various viral videos of women cussing men out, throwing shit at them, tossing their shit out the window, calling the police on them falsely, getting them arrested falsely, publicly embarrassing and humiliating them on, the internet. That shit stems from somewhere. Somebody's teaching them that.
And then
Someone taught them.
it's just like we could say, since we on here, even though we was talking about what we're talking about, it's the same thing as saying a feminine dude is not masculine enough to understand that he in the presence of real women. So he feel awkward because he's not used to being with a submissive woman. You know what I'm saying? He's not used to being with a submissive woman, so he acts out because he's feeling some type of way. So it goes both ways. He wasn't raised by his father or something. He didn't have a father in life. So it goes both ways when we talking about these type of situations.
Hey, bud. Look, shout out to everybody who pulled up in the chat, man. Thank you for coming out, showing love. If you like what you see here, man, give your boy a follow. Keep up the content, keep up the channel. We are coming back. Spin the block a little bit later, around 8:30.
Yeah, we got another hot one. We got another hot one coming up.
Yes, indeed. With that being said, though, shout out to you, brother. Shout out to Foxes and Corns for pulling up. And yeah, we're gonna be back here later on, brother.
Yeah, Foxes and Corns did her thing on here, man. Big salutes to her. Definitely always big salutes to you, man. You keep this thing running, man. I'm proud of y'all. I just want you to keep spinning it. So let's just run it back, man. Let's just keep running it back.
We're already. There's no cap world signing out.
Salute.
Sex is, promoting sex.
Okay, so somebody in the entertainment industry that's female that has a highly sexual image versus a ballerina.
Right.
De Niro. That's the difference. Money talks too. Sex sells, money talks. Come on.
No, I'm laughing because you make valid
They
point.
broke.
It's just the way you
They
said it,
broke
De
down.
Niro. In my head, for the briefest second, I thought we were talking about Robert De Niro, and I was like, okay.
Gee, come on.
Like, I literally took my brain a half a second to realize you meant money, like De Niro. But I was like, Robert De Niro is the difference. What? But no, I think the difference is, well, that's a great question. Depends on who you ask. Depends on who's consuming it. Depends on what they're getting out of it. So, like, I can write a sensual poem, and somebody might say, well, what is she giving to the world versus somebody like Shakespeare who's, you know, putting out a sonnet that is really long and really technically advanced, but nobody even knows what the hell he's saying. They're two different things. I think it's like comparing apples to oranges. I think that a artist, particularly a woman, can be a sexual being. I don't think there's anything inherently negative about our human sensuality. I feel like all humans have that, men and women. Look at Prince. Prince didn't even mean to exude the sexiness that he did most of the time, and it just jumped out from him. I think that if you're doing it specifically to capitalize on your sexuality and specifically to rope people in and to convince people that that type of behavior, really raunchy, really vulgar sexuality is perfectly okay, I disagree with that. But I believe if you're an artist in any way, a poet, a writer, a director, a musician, hell, an architect, and you have sensual or sexual elements, I don't think there's anything wrong with that expression. We wouldn't have things like the Statue of David. We wouldn't have beautiful things like the hieroglyphics that have, you know, naked Egyptians in them. If human beings never acknowledged their sexuality, I mean, let's face it, like, we're here to procreate, right? That's like our instinctual purpose. If we pretend that that isn't there because we're clutching our pearls and saying that to live a godly life or to live a perfect societal life, we should only exude that in very, very specific scenarios, I think we're doing ourselves a disservice. I think it's better to normalize in the sense that being sexual is a beautiful thing, but it doesn't need to be vulgarly dangled in people's faces as a means of obtaining wealth. That's when it takes the art out and it becomes a money grab. So I agree with him. The De Niro is the difference.
It's all about that dollar.
Yeah. That's not being sexual because you're just, that's what you're displaying an authentic part of yourself. That's purposely using sex to sell. And that's when it makes sex gross and ugly and weird, and I don't like it. No, thank you. No, thank you. No Robert De Niro for me.
You know,
What do you think?
there was a specific time in my life where I would listen to, you know, Biggie, and I would listen to Lil Kim, and I was celebrating, you know, I was right there smoking, I was right there having sex with somebody to a certain song, to Drew Hill, something like that. The older, oh yeah.
That's a classic. That's a classic.
I know. That was like the jam when I was like a junior in high school. That song, I was like, everybody was doing that, and everybody was grinding at the dances and stuff. I look back on it now and I'm like, oh God, do kids still do that? Because that was nasty. Why were we doing that?
But that was a
Why were
different.
adults allowing that?
That was a different time, and I think
That was the 90s.
music was different than it is now. So when Lil Kim came out, it was like, oh, this is the when Lil Kim did that, she was with Biggie. She was with pretty much the biggest rapper her next to Tupac in the industry at that time. It was hot. It
Well,
was selling. It was like hotcakes. And when she
what
did
I'm
what
what I'm
she
what I'm
did, that was different.
what I'm getting at is the older the older you get and the different experiences you take on,
Yeah.
with meeting people, losing people, things of that nature, you tend to realize soon later that a lot of what you saw is not really what was best for you. Now
Oh yeah.
we can sit here, and glamorize and give them the flowers and all of these things, but at the end of the day, if you really peel back the layers, a lot of
Yeah.
their content influence, what we got right now,
For sure.
whether it was directly or indirectly.
Yeah.
Well,
People
we can't blame individuals. We got to blame the whole culture,
The whole
the
system.
whole industry, industry from the 70s all the way to 2023 is responsible. That was I was just pointing out that at that point, like it's at another point right now.
I agree.
So
Okay, you back. You froze up there for a minute, but you're back for me.
I'm back.
Is he back for you?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
it was just a
no,
different time though. That's all. I mean, hip hop itself is a culture. It's
Yeah.
not a one person thing, and the whole influence is the clothes, the talk, the lingo,
The culture.
the culture. You got to be about that. It's a street culture, and it all started back from where it originated from, and it just went from generation through generation.
Right. Well, I mean, we wouldn't even have rock and roll if we didn't have
Right.
communities, if we didn't have Harlem, if we didn't have, I mean, really music in this country, as far back as when we've settled here, has been influenced by Black culture, if we're being real with ourselves. I think society in general has had different periods of exploration and acceptance of overt sexuality. Certainly, you look at the 1960s, we had music that was exploding. I think the difference is, though, there are certain pockets that have become more overtly, less alluding and less sensual and more like I said, more vocal, more like literally grinding your pussy on the camera. Like I think that's where we go from a trailblazing song where a woman is not afraid to discuss, the desire she feels, or be beautiful, in front of the camera, not wearing a lot, simply because she loves herself and is, there's a point to it, versus just straight up sex, neon.
That
Just
that's a great
that's an
point.
empty. That's empty sexuality. I resent that, because to me there is a lot of power and a lot of beauty. I feel like a lot of the best art, literally in every genre that exists in humanity, has been influenced by love and sexuality. We wouldn't have any of the masterpieces we have without those. So when you take that same thing and you just turn it into a used dirty condom in an alleyway, it's kind of taking something sacred and flushing it down the
He
toilet
ain't
in a way.
say used it.
Yeah, when you take something beautiful and you turn it into a used
Yeah.
condom in an alleyway, in the Bronx, then it's a problem. That's a masterpiece. Why are you doing that?
So
Like, why is that what you're focused on? And the answer is money.
So we got a whole lot of used Lil Kims in the industry today because Lil Kim started it. It was cool. It was
Listen,
bad when you did it, but now we used it all up. We don't want to see it no more. Bring me something more original. I want the original. The original is what sells,
yes,
not the
it's hard
copy.
to find. It's hard to find original, especially music right now. I think the music industry in general, there's a oversaturation of mimicry. There's a lot of
Copycats. That's all it
Yep.
is.
I will give Lil Kim a pass though, just for this. Was she overtly and vulgarly sexual? Yes. But She was also like Nikki, a brilliant wordsmith. And she was trailblazing in the sense that at that time, it wasn't okay for a black woman to say, yeah, I'm dirty, yeah, I'm sexual, yeah, I'm all these things, and I'm not sorry. And I think that's where I can kind of separate the overt sexuality that she exuded with how trailblazing it was, because it required bravery for her to do that on some level. Now, do I think that it's music that should forever be embedded in society and we should, look for these deep messages in it? No, I think it was a black woman saying, fuck y'all, this is me. And men can do it, and so am I. That's how I view her.
Salute.
There was a video of what's her name?
Little sexy, juicy, crimson, scarlet red. What are you talking about?
Something Kokiana or some shit like that.
Cocaine?
There was something. I can't think of her name, but she went to Buckingham Palace. She's a rapper.
Oh, okay.
And they were recording her, and she said, and I quote, she wants to get her coochie ate, and she wants to get. It was very vulgar and very vulgar.
My neck, my back, my pussy, yeah, my crack. It was that type of thing?
It was that. But I bring this up because you're in Buckingham Palace.
First of all, that's the royal family. But
I could care less.
I know. It's a place that's wildly inappropriate, and you're intentionally pushing the boundaries for shock value. I don't like shock value. If you're doing something to shock people, you lose all credibility with me. You can be shocking without doing something shocking on purpose. Look at Kendrick Lamar. He frequently steals my breath away, but not because he's trying to, because he's just that fucking smart. And he's doing shit that nobody else is doing. He's not going out and lighting the American flag on fire at the top of the Golden Gate Bridge. He doesn't have to do shit like that to get people to stop and really wide-eyed pay attention to what he's saying. When you go to Buckingham Palace and you're swinging your hang around, it's a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Gotta be original. You gotta be original, people. That's what's gonna get you noticed.
Yeah. So what's your feelings on Buckingham pussy?
Yeah. My problem was she's on camera in front of millions of people that's watching worldwide talking about she wants to get her ass ate, her pussy ate. She wants some dick. And then you go to Twitter, you go to Instagram, you go to YouTube comment section, and you got black women in the comment section say, you go girl, you get your ass ate, you do this. That's my problem. Because you're representing an entire community. You got people looking at everyone like they're that. You're basically saying this is okay. Be like that. This is what men want.
No,
this is how
that's gonna get them disrespected. That's gonna get them disrespected.
Yeah. She's not doing that because that's genuinely feel. I wouldn't have a problem with. I would have a problem with how inappropriate it is, but I wouldn't judge a woman for it if it was genuine. But it's not. She's doing it to get attention. She's doing it to
respect that. Yeah.
Don't respect that. Exactly. I think, and again, as a member of the Caucasian delegation, it's not for me to place any type of judgment on black women supporting that, but I would venture to guess that to them, it's just important to, even if it's misguided, to uplift another black woman, regardless. I think they see it as their fellow queens aren't protected, even if they're doing something that maybe isn't the best decision. I feel like they're going to circle around and support that. And I can't necessarily be mad at that. I think it's misguided, but I think that it has good intentions in terms of trying to protect their own.
All right, I got a question on that. I got a question real quick, and I'm gonna let you go, bro. I'm gonna say it real quick, then you take over. Do you feel like men can or should be able to protect something that they can't control?
Give me an example.
Okay, we like a relationship. If that goes back to what I said with the lead and sometimes in the father, like in a situation if a man is in the lead position and he's telling you something that is in the best interest for the both of you, but you overstep him and then trouble arrives. You see what I'm saying? That puts him in the position where he has to be the man and protect anyway. But if you would have listened, you see what I'm saying? It wouldn't have never
Okay,
happened.
so when it comes to situations where it's like imminent type danger or something that could be explosive or could be dangerous or whatever, as alpha as I am as a woman, I always defer in that situation, always. Even if I don't necessarily in that moment agree, because I feel that if it's coming down to where he may have to physically protect me, I feel he's more able to recognize signs of that than me because I didn't grow up fighting. So I don't know when somebody's about to pop off and hit me necessarily. Sometimes I can sense it, but I feel like men probably have a better idea about imminent danger or like if there's a wild animal near us and he's like, step back slowly. I'm not going to be like, well, I don't think so. I think I just want to be coming over here. Like, I'm not going to sit there.
I just want to see if he's gonna eat us alive. Let me find out.
Like, no, in that situation, if he feels that we are in actual danger, that is a situation where I mean, there may be a rare one-off, but I feel he is physically stronger than me. No matter how strong I feel as a woman, he is physically stronger than me. He is physically more capable of defending. Like, I couldn't hit somebody in the face if I wanted to. I could try, it would be pathetic, but so in that situation, yes, he has a right to tell me, back up. Now later on, I may say, if it turned out to not be anything and he miscalculated it, I'm going to say, maybe you should have talked to me about it, and then we can discuss why it was in that moment he felt that there was imminent danger. But I don't believe that there are situations where you should sit there and nitpick and argue and nag and disagree if it's something that may cause actual harm. Other situations when he's just randomly making a decision without consulting me, I'm going to kind of pull him a little bit to the side and be like, wait a minute, we haven't talked about this. I mean, I am going to question. I'm going to be like, wait, we both have opinions in this situation. If we go into a restaurant and he just randomly orders me a meal, he may think that that's chivalrous or whatever, but maybe I don't want stuffed buffalo butt. You know what I mean? Like maybe I don't, maybe I don't want that. So it's like you needed to confer with me, and I can make my own. I can place my own order. You know what I mean?
But hold on, but isn't it a man's job? Like if
To
he
place my
take
order?
it like
Hell
that, no, isn't it a man's job? Isn't it a man's job, not a woman, to pick the date? Yes or no?
To
I
pick
want
the
to confirm
what?
that. To pick the date. Like if it's somewhere you're getting taken out, I'm picking the date. You're not picking it.
It depends. If that's pre-established and understood that he's specifically taking me out on the town, he absolutely gets to pick.
You get to
And I'm
pick the
going where he
date.
wants to go. But if it's, hey, let's go out on a date night tonight, what do we both want to do? Then we both should have input. There may be a time I want to take him out and do nice surprises for him. There's times I've taken him out and surprised him at a cool restaurant that he didn't know about. Or I think that I don't think it's the man's job per se. I think that you have to look at every situation individually. And if a man wants to take me out, not just we're going on a date and we're both agreeing on it. If it's I'm taking you out on the town, I'm not going to sit there and be like, so where are you taking me? And I don't like this place. You know what I mean? Like, no. He's allowed in that situation to be the navigator and be the captain. But there maybe we go on a vacation that I've planned and I have a certain set of things that we're doing because I think that he'll like them. So it's not a black or white. Every single time we go out, he gets to pick because he's quote unquote taking me out. I make money too. It's our money and it's joint. I mean, granted, he makes more than me, which by the way, don't go to college because I did and he didn't. And he makes twice what I make because he went into a trade. So anybody out there listening, kids, don't go to college. It's a joke. And then you just have debt. But anyways, I mean, he makes more than me. So on some level, I do feel that he has more weight in decisions financially just because he contributes more. But I still contribute. I still work my ass off. So if it's something we're deciding on together, we should both have a voice. If he's like, hey, Friday, put on a nice dress, I'm taking you out. That's not a situation where I'm gonna bug him. And no. Let somebody do something nice for you. Just like if somebody gives you a gift, you don't get to go, well, I wanted something else. That's fucking rude. Say thank you for your gift.
Right.
This is so lovely. Thank you. And it may not be what you wanted, but it's the thought.
Go ahead, brother.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's just common sense. But what was I feel like
Go
we
ahead,
did
brother.
all these little
Yeah.
tangents. What were
Yeah.
you gonna say?
You got it. Up top.
Shit, I lost my whole train of thought. we went from
Bears.
Yeah,
Bears.
quit fighting lions, tigers, and bears. You fighting all these animals.
I ain't making it out of a bear situation without him. Period. Okay? Let's just face it. I probably might go, okay, but please don't hurt the bear because I'm that girl that's like always worried about animals and want to make sure they're okay. He'd be like, get back. And I'd be like, okay, but please don't hurt the bear if you can. Thanks. And then I get back.
I do truly believe that women aren't what they once were. And if they are, I mean, not argumentative, not combative. And when I say argumentative and combative, I'm not talking about you should shut up like I'm Ike Turner or some shit like that.
Right.
I'm talking about I chose to go into a partnership with you because of certain traits, certain things that brought me to you. I care for you. I took on that responsibility knowing that there were things that I was going to have to do to meet you halfway or go above and beyond. So in that respect, if I decide to do that for you, you should allow me to be in a position to where I can do that, and we don't have that anymore. I grew up where my grandfather went out and worked, my grandmother went out and worked, but at the end of the day, he relegated the circumstances going on in the household if things were getting out of line and there needed to be order, or
Right.
he had to make certain decisions, or they had to make certain decisions. They would do it in a way to where it wouldn't be you bitch ass something, you faggy, you gave a cookie, all of the ad hominems that come along with it. You're trying to agitate the person that you lay down. You're trying to fight and purposely piss off the person that you say you love.
Antagonist.
Right. Like I don't really see a lot of that anymore. Where they're empathetic about your feelings. They care whether or not you had something to eat, or they care about your day, or they care if you're stressed, or if you know, your family is doing okay. Then no one's really engaging men, and women are not really too inclusive with what a guy goes through on a regular basis. It's more about how
Right.
can I get how can I get the resources from him? What does he have that I can get out of him in order for my attention and time to be given to him?
I hate
Then
And if
that.
you can't benefit me in any type of way, form, or
Then
fashion,
bye.
then yeah.
you disposable. You trash.
Yeah.
You garbage.
It's not right
You
on
know,
either side. Really, to look at somebody as just a resource. I think it can go both ways. I agree with you though. I think that women, I can't say all women. It's hard because you don't want to just, it's hard
It's
to
not.
say.
It's not all women. It's not.
I
We're
feel like
saying
some
that.
women have lost connection with nurturing. I think that we are forgetting how to be nurturing forces. We are forgetting how to be facilitators, and we are forgetting that in order for our man to go up, our king to go up, and to be successful, the reality is he should be able to lay his head on our shoulder when he comes home from a hard day, and he needs to cry. Instead of making him feel like shit about that, hold him and tell him he's amazing and all of those things, so that when he goes back to his difficult day, he can face that. Like, we're not rejuvenating our partners. We're not uplifting our partners. We're being more problem solving. Like, well, did you try XYZ? And that's great, but there needs to be, like you said, an empathetic element. There needs to be I completely understand how hard
It
that
need to
is.
be a safe
Yes.
haven, some place where we can go and
Yeah.
lay our burdens down. If
Yep.
you can't do that, why we with you?
Yep.
Why we with you then? If we can't be
And I would
peaceful.
say on the opposite side of that coin, though, is that men have really not historically ever been very good at nurturing. And we deserve that too. You guys are very good protectors. But sometimes, because society have made you guys uncomfortable with emotion, when we are deep in our feelings, sometimes you guys shut down.
Okay, let me say one thing about the
Sure.
emotion part, because I wanted to touch on that.
Sure.
Okay, you just articulated, and I do believe what you said about the emotion. Men should be able to cry and all that.
Beyond.
I get that.
I don't know why we judge that at all.
But
It's human.
but
Yeah.
but it's like, okay, if you're in a relationship with somebody, or even I'm gonna say even a marriage, I'm gonna go as far as say even a marriage,
Wait a minute.
and they make they make it comfortable for you to say, you can tell me what's wrong. Go ahead and let it out, baby. Go
Did
ahead.
you just say merge?
Even in the
Merge?
merge, yeah, even in the merge, even in a
Where
situation
are
like that,
you? What state are you in?
you say what state? I'm in North Carolina.
You're North. Okay, I knew. I knew it. Merge. Okay, I'm sorry. Continue. I promise. That was cute as hell that you just said that. Merge. I was like, he's got to be in the Carolinas. Okay, continue.
I'm originally from DC though, so I don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't talk like that.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
I was gonna say, even when the women let you know and feel comfortable to be vulnerable, they want their man to be vulnerable. They take that and use it against you in the end. Like if we piss y'all off or something, you take that moment and bust our ass with it. So
Yeah, no,
that's
that's
why
trash. That's
dudes
trash.
don't do that. That's why dudes look at that as being weak,
I know.
because if we give you that, you take that and use it and destroy it. That's why we don't give y'all that. That's why.
I do see that. I do see women that do that. I agree with that. And I think it's trash.
Women is vindictive like that, and they'll try to destroy the dude once he open up like
Yes.
that to
I there's a lot of
one thing
psychological warfare from women.
Yeah, they do
Our
stuff like
battlefield,
that.
our battlefield is a psychological one. Because we are not as physically capable, we definitely engage in a lot of psychological warfare tactics. And I do not agree with it, period. Nobody should be using any type of vulnerability against anybody, period. And if you're the type of person that does that, whether you're a man or a woman, you're trash.
You trash. You lame.
People should be safe to share their vulnerabilities, and if you're going to then take that and use that against them, like, to me, that's in the same book with a liar and a thief. It's using ammunition, using people's weaknesses against them, and to me, that's a sign of very low humanity, very low frequency type behavior.
So you got to understand,
Yeah,
man do
I
go
do.
through emotion, and we don't have a problem letting our women know. I'm not gonna say an average girl, we're not gonna let them know, but we don't mind opening up to our ladies. But you got to understand, it's a risk from our gender perspective that when we do that,
Fan-
we putting some type of trust in that person. We not
Right. And
we
you've been
not gonna
burned.
just do that to anybody.
And you've been
Yeah.
burned. You've had
Right.
somebody use that. Yeah, I feel that we have the same thing, just women in the physical realm. You guys feel that you're taking on a lot of emotional and psychological risks, and we sometimes feel a lot of physical threatening. You know what I mean? Like we enter relationships feeling like there's always going to be a chance that we're going to be physically
Yeah.
mistreated because historically there's been a lot of that. So I think both sides of the fence have developed coping mechanisms, right?
Mm-hmm.
The experiences and beliefs that we've had, either in our own relationships or in what society is pumping into our heads, affects the way that we move. It affects what we look for in a partner. And I think we miss out on a lot of probably beautiful people because we've developed all of these walls and strategies and beliefs and reactions. I feel like there's a lot of people that probably could have had a beautiful and successful relationship, but their pasts fucked them up. And then they couldn't move together in the way that they needed to do because we go along and we get damaged.
Say that part again.
A lot of people enter into relationships and I feel they could have had a beautiful and fruitful relationship, but because of their past, because of their experiences, and because of societal influence, they can't move as two working parts together, and then it falls apart. I feel like we miss out on a lot of valuable relationships, not just romantically, but platonically, professionally, because over time we've become damaged, and we operate on assumptions.
All you got to do is cut the head off the snake. It's over with. You just cut the head off
What
the
does
snake.
that
It
mean?
ain't going
What does
nowhere.
that mean?
It's a wrap.
Like,
That's some country shit right there.
It means, let me tell you what it means. It means keep your grass cut. Keep your grass cut. Wherever you at, check that yard.
listen, Deep, I love this guy, whoever he is.
Yeah, that's my man.
You're adorable. Seriously, that's so funny. I love that. I'm gonna start using that saying. Just cut the head right off the snake. People are gonna be like, "What?" I'm gonna be like, "Just go with it." I heard it one time. Just go with it. Cut your grass. You'd be like, "What about my grass?" I'll be like, "You don't understand. You're not on my level. Bye."
Gotta keep it low. Keep it low.
So funny. Oh, that's so funny. I love it. You can start jotting these little ones down. But listen, I have to hop off of here, but I wanted to say that I've really enjoyed this discussion, and I appreciate the respectful, funny, charming, you guys' experiences are important, and your feelings and your perspectives, even where they may not align with my own, they still matter. They're still just as important as mine. And I don't think you all hear enough from women that we love and appreciate you, that you're doing a good job, that you're strong, and that you're capable. So I'm going to speak up for all women today and tell you both that you are kings, and have a great rest of your day.
We appreciate you being on here. You enjoy your day, but thanks for sharing.
Yes, you too. I love you.
It was wonderful.
Okay, bye.
We had one, right?
Man, that's a banger. That was a banger right there.
That was just the first one. We still got one for later on.
Yeah, we're gonna run it back, ain't?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, man, we not. Let me now that we got that out the way, I just want to put this out here. This wasn't necessary topic to just disrespect or undermine one gender over the other. You know, we're just pointing out a specific thing that we see, a characteristic, I'm gonna say, that we see in the female that create problems. All women ain't like that. On the opposite is that when a woman carry herself correctly and right, these them situations that happened in that restaurant would have never took place because a man wouldn't have never stepped to a real woman with respect and all of that like that for herself. It would have never been no argument. So I just wanted to put that on the table that certain women, by the way they carry themselves, get the utmost respect by men, and then the ones that think low, that's the ones that get disrespected. So it was just a breakdown between, you know, characteristics that you see in people. You got anything on?
Nah, man. All I say is that shit goes way deeper than just one, incident.
Yeah.
What she displayed is what hundreds, if not thousands, of women across the world, articulate, as you see on various viral videos of women cussing men out, throwing shit at them, tossing their shit out the window, calling the police on them falsely, getting them arrested falsely, publicly embarrassing and humiliating them on, the internet. That shit stems from somewhere. Somebody's teaching them that.
And then
Someone taught them.
and then it's just like we could say, since we on here, even though we was talking about what we're talking about, it's the same thing as saying a feminine dude is not masculine enough to understand that he in the presence of real women, so he feel awkward because he's not used to being with a submissive woman. You know what I'm saying? He's not used to being with a submissive woman, so he acts out because he's feeling some type of way. So it goes both ways. He wasn't raised by his father or something. He didn't have a father in life. So it goes both ways when we talking about these type of situations.
Hey, but look, shout out to everybody who pulled up in the chat, man. Thank you for coming out, showing love. If you like what you see here, man, give your boy a follow. Keep up with the content. Keep up the channel. We are coming back. Spin the block a little bit later, around 8:30.
Yeah, we got another hot one. We got another hot one coming up.
Yes, indeed. With that being said, though, shout out to you, brother. Shout out to Foxes and Pawns for pulling up. And yeah, we're gonna be back here later on, brother.
Yeah, Foxes and Pawns did her thing on here, man. Big salutes to her. Definitely always big salutes to you, man. You keep this thing running, man. I'm proud of you. I just want you to keep spinning it. So let's just run it back, man. Let's just keep running it back.
You're already. It's No Cap World signing out.
Salute.